Monthly partner in brief of ongoing progress work on the Shagamu Lagos infrastructure and
bring all the traffic into this direction.
We are going to work to ensure that better during the If we don't do what we need to do now, the road will.
Good day and welcome to another interesting episode of Infrastructure Weekly. I am Abosede Omowi. On this week's episode, we'll be taking you around project sites ranging from roads to housing, rail and power across the country under the Muhammadu Buhari administration. We'll be back after this break. Don't go away.
Coming together of opportunities. And this is what
Infrastructure is the backbone of development, which explains the Buhari government's effort at bridging the facility gap. Infrastructure Weekly is a television package designed to bring you latest information on hundreds of development projects going on in various sectors all over the nation.
there is no state in Nigeria today where you will not see our contractors busy at work.
Power generation, rural electrification, road rehabilitations, national housing scheme, construction of roads and rail lines across the country, you name it.
We are now able to produce 7,000 megawatt of power. That is no longer debatable.
Infrastructure Weekly is Nigerians working together for a better Nigeria. So be better informed to take better informed decisions. Watch Infrastructure Weekly, showing on Channels Television Thursdays 2:30 p.m., NTA Network Wednesdays 5 p.m., and QTD News Fridays at 8 p.m. Infrastructure Weekly, making development known.
We take off this week from the road sector, where commuters using the Ikorodu-Shagamu road have commended the federal government for the award of the contract for the road and retreated their readiness to endure the difficulties that will come with the reconstruction of the road. Let's take a listen.
Before the advent of the Buhari administration and its commitment to infrastructure development, the story of the Ikorodu-Shagamu road was that of neglect, gnashing of teeth and lost opportunities. The condition of the road, despite its strategic nature as a gateway between Ogun and Lagos, and also to the eastern and sensitive parts of the country, was nothing to write home about. To quote a former member of the House of Representatives, Abike Erewa, it was nothing short of agonizing. But since the flag-off of the road project on the 21st of May, the story has changed, with road users commending the palliative works being done to make it motorable before the major construction starts in a few weeks.
The road is beneficial to the community, to us here, to those that have property here. We know that our property is definitely going to appreciate in this environment. And to the people that are doing business here too, small retailers, buyers of rice and beans, they are really going to benefit.
The road is okay. We are very happy. And we appreciate the government.
For octogenarian Akim Ojuga, the coming of the construction of the road is a welcome development after the neglect is suffered from successive administrations who had the wherewithal to construct the road. He said the road will bring the needed development to the people of Ikorodu, while also helping in adding value to property in the area.
And if they do it now, it's going to improve business and everything around these houses. And it will give everybody good access to the major road. So it's of immense benefit. Tremendous benefit to the division, both for the industrial estate with all the industries there, and for the industries in Ogun and all other places. We're going to benefit a lot from it, and we'll be grateful to whoever does it for us.
On the part of the federal government, the Controller of Work Lagos, Adedamola Kuti, said all arrangements are in place to ensure that the project is delivered on time.
So on our own part, it is our own duty to also ensure that the construction work is done according to our own specifications, to our standards. And at the end of the day, once this project is completed, we do hope that we shall have value for money, both to the government and then to road users.
He added that the ministry will ensure delivery of a world-class project that will stand the test of time, while the site manager of the construction firm gave an update of the project.
Effort has also been made to ensure that the drainage aspect of the road will also be done to standard.
As you see now, we are trying to prepare the road and make it motorable for the people because the road condition here was very bad for the last
period, as you see, and you can see even the difference between the last period and now. And we are proceeding more procedures even at front because we need to make the road accessible for everybody for the current period.
The contractor also added that plans have been put in place to ensure that people's day-to-day activities is not difficult owing to the construction of the road. He added that the company will deliver a world-class project to all users and Nigerians.
And we are going ahead even soon. We will start our work for the whole road. First of all, this section for the first 5 kilometers. We are going to work with it, putting the gutters and start preparing the road for grading and also for the concrete work. And then at the same time, we are working up at kilometer 15 now, trying to prepare the site for the working of earth moving, and we are going to go ahead with it soon by grace of God.
Works are currently going on at bad spots on the road to bring circle ahead of full-fledged construction.
For many years, the Itakpe-Ajaokuta Warri Rail project was a signpost of what many considered to be a white elephant project, and that's due to its unending construction. But now, this is set to change. The federal government says the project, which is now at 80% completion, will soon be handed over. Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi, who disclosed this on an inspection tour with members of the media, said the trucks are ready to go. He added that it is only the stations that are still undergoing construction, and this, according to him, will be delivered on time.
To address the fact that most of these projects have been there. When Nigerians put us under pressure, I asked the question, what were Nigerians' reaction when nobody was doing all these things? If you see the fact that the president has been pushing, complete every project that was started from Obasanjo, from Yaradua to Goodluck, and then to us. Other governments won't do that. They will start their own, it will be named after them. Here we are completing, and this project has been there for 34 years.
Until recently, rail as a means of transportation has been abandoned. However, this present government under President Muhammadu Buhari recognized the capacity of rail to carry more people and goods, including raw materials, from one place to another. Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi, during an inspection of the Itakpe-Ajaokuta Warri rail line in Agbo, states that the rail line is about 80% complete and will be completed before the scheduled date, adding that the tracks were ready, only the stations were left to be completed. He adds that the federal government is compelling the contractors to work effectively and they are working day and night to ensure speedy completion.
They finished the track laying. They were to replace the tracks from Itakpe up to Ajaokuta. They have stolen the tracks and all that, so they had to replace, which they have done successfully, because we had to come from Itakpe up to this point. The fact that we were able to get up to this point means that they were able to lay this thing. They have also laid the track from the main design into the yard. So are you satisfied with that? Yes, I'm satisfied with that. It just simply means that from Itakpe you can get to Warri, or at least to Alaja. The implication is that anybody who gets to Itakpe can actually get to Warri. Are you satisfied with what they are doing with the stations? I think they need to improve. I think they need to do more.
According to the minister, this is what government is also doing in Lagos, Ibadan, and that project, being a 3-year contract, should be completed in 1 year. He rode the train from Itakpe to Warri to inspect the tracks and train stations being built on the corridor, while saying President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration is committed to funding infrastructure in Nigeria.
What are you doing on it? What do you need? What's the point is to hop? You need to hop down at the old station. You know what they did in the old station was just a place you hop and hop into the train, come down and go back into the train, and for which you can move goods. So they just created platforms. Anybody can come down on the platform and go his way. But then the ones, in case it's raining, let the passenger be protected from rain or from the elements of nature. And then the decency of having to travel in a comfortable manner. That's all that gives you. But if not, everything else is ready. You can actually go to, it's a single track railway. So whether there is communication or not, you can certainly know that there's not that train coming. It's only you that's on the track. When you get to Warri, only you two will come back. But once you put multiple coaches and locomotives on the track, then you need to ensure that communication, signaling, and everything are put in place. What is only important is that at least we have a track we can run. But where would the passengers stand? Where would they sit? With the comfort of the passengers? If we don't want to do it, that we know we don't want to do it. But we already have awarded the contract and we are not owing. You see, that's the difference between this government and other government. We are not owing. We hardly owe. If you're due for payment, you're paid. And they've been paid for a long time.
Community stakeholders are already commending the All Progressive Congress government as this rail project will make movements easy, fast and affordable for Nigerians.
This country for a long time was in a state of comatose in terms of economic development. The rail system, as you all are aware, is one of the areas that ensures rapid development economically of any nation. It facilitates goods and services movement on a very sound and voluminous state. So we are sure the completion of this rail line, as you see here, is going to help the country, and it will afford our youths, especially when Ajakuta is completed, a lot of economic opportunities, employment opportunities, and the welfare of the general people of the country, especially the host communities.
The train will be extended to Lokoja in order to create a more passenger-friendly transport system. However, the contract, which was awarded to China Civil and Engineering Construction Corporation Nigeria Limited at a cost of $122.6 million, is to be delivered by March 2019, although the minister has charged the contractors to deliver before the end of 2018.
For this track to be passenger friendly, you have to extend it to Lokoja so that nobody comes and gets stranded at Itape. Itape does not necessarily have the facilities for those who want to go to Abuja. But if we get to Lokoja, first it's not because it has to be passenger friendly. It also has to fulfill the directive of the president that we must get to all state capitals. And from Itape, from where we take off to Lokoja, is 34 kilometers. From Lokoja to Ajakuta is nearly about 25 kilometers. So why not just push the train forward and get to Lokoja, to not only to assist people of Lokoja, but to also comply with the president's directive that we must go to all state capitals. And finally, to ensure that passengers from the south can conveniently get to the north without having to get stranded anywhere.
Managing Director Nigerian Railway Corporation says governments will not let the tracks go bad before all the 12 train stations will be completed. Therefore, Buhari administration will continue to maintain the nation's infrastructure. 35 years old neglected 154 kilometers Itakpe-Ajakuta Warri Standard Railway is set for commercial operations soon.
If you were just joining us, the program is Infrastructure Weekly, where we x-ray the achievement of the Buhari administration and the provision of infrastructure to all Nigerians. You can get in touch with us on any of the social media handles showing on your screen for comments, feedback, and inquiries. Join us after this break for more on the program. Stay tuned.
London, New York or Lagos, business or holiday, home or office, you can now carry out your tax transactions from anywhere in the world. You can now file all your tax returns, pay online, get a receipt and even process your tax clearance certificate from anywhere in the world online and in real time. All you need to do is log on to www.firs.gov.ng and click on e-services and be introduced to the world of innovation, convenience and transparency from the FIRS. You can also pay stamp duty as you register a new company with the CAC or for other transactions that require stamp duty payment online. You can also file your withholding tax returns and determine the withholding tax deducted from you is in government coffers so that you can get your receipt within 45 days as long as the deduction has been remitted. Yes, all of this and more online at www.firs.gov.ng/e-services. FIRS, making tax administration as easy as ABC. Please note that all FIRS services are free of charge. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service. It pays to pay your tax.
The federal government is doing more to remove all the encumbrances to the generation of more power by the nation's various power-generating companies. The crew of Infrastructure Weekly visited the Niger Delta company-owned Omotosho power plant in Ondo State and had an encounter with the Chief Operating Officer, Idris Ginso, who spoke extensively on issues in generating power. He disclosed that the sector will continue to grow with support from the federal government, which has continued to remove impediments to effective functioning of the sector. Let's take a listen.
Keep us alive.
The federal government is doing everything possible to remove impediments to power generation and move the nation to the path of development. Here at Omotosho Generation Plant, owned and operated by the Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited, the success of the Buhari administration is obvious for any discerning observer to see. The company, which started commercial operations on the first unit on August 2, 2012, and the last unit on 21st December 2012, was part of the then National Integration Power Project and is now completed. According to the Chief Operating Officer of the plant, Idris Genzau, the impediments that have stunted the ability of the plant to contribute fully to the national grid are now being progressively removed with investments by the federal government.
Remodeling or modifying the infrastructure, the dilapidated or the old infrastructure is part of the milestone achievement, because without those infrastructure, and I think the power plant, the power sector is part of it. So that should be the ground zero, because without it, we are not going to achieve anything. Then the eligible customer that they have introduced is a very good, remarkable policy, which will really help to evacuate the stranded energy.
The plant, which is an open gas cycle turbine, 500 megawatts power station with 4 by 125 megawatts, has a combined capacity connected to the national grid through a DC 330 kV line on Benin-Ikeja West axis. The Chief Operating Officer gave further insight into the plant's operations.
The power plant belongs to the 3 tiers of government, where we have the parent company, which is called the Niger Delta Power Holding Company. So our Omotosho Generation Company is one of the 10 power plant subsidiary company. Like I told you, we started commercial operation by August. That should be 2012. And the last unit to be commissioned is December the same year, 2012. We have total energy produced to date. That should be 175,000 megawatts, while the running hours to date is 71 hours to date. Our availability factor should be around 75 to 80, which since we are on the grid. Dispensation through the Minister of Power and Steel, we are able to invest in the 33 kV line to Omotosho town, where we connected them to the grid, and I think that one too is part of the social corporate responsibility.
He lauded the federal government for its investment in the power sector and added that the company will continue to stand the test of time. He disclosed that the operation of the plant has improved following repair works carried out to restore some of its major equipment. The parent company of the plant is also involved in corporate social responsibility projects with the host communities.
That we are facing here is a global one, which cut across all the power generation that we are connected to the grid. Mostly for ours here is the evacuation constraint, which we know government is vigorously doing something about it by constructing a new 330 kV line and the 132 line that pass from Benin through here to Ikeja West 1 to Ikorodu. We are aware of that, so we know is transient. The gas molecule constraint, we know that it's been trying to improve based on the more funding or more gas molecules being pumped into the line.
The federal government has called on state governments to support access to power through improved infrastructure within their respective states due to the difficulty being experienced by distribution companies to put together the required infrastructure for distribution. Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, made this call through the Permanent Secretary, Power, Louis Edozie, at the National Council on Power in Benin, the Edo State capital. He urges all state governors to work in partnership with the distribution companies serving their respective states. He also urges state governments to ensure payment of debt by their ministries, departments and agencies to electricity distribution companies. He said the recent directive on the major assets provider will help in opening up the sector for more investment and development. Join us after this break for an update on the National Housing Program in Ekiti State. Don't go away. You can stay in touch with us on social media through the following handles: on Twitter at @infra_weekly and on Facebook at facebook.com/infrastructureweekly. We hit the home stretch today with a return to the site of the National Housing Program site in Ekiti State. The program, which has helped in generating direct employment for the host community, is now at an advanced stage of completion of the various units of houses. Let's take a listen.
With the impact of the National Housing Project all over Nigeria now no longer hidden, the federal government is now moving some of the sites scattered all over the federation to completion stage. On a visit to the site of the program in Ado Ekiti, Infrastructure Weekly observed continuing work on site, and the controller of works in the state assured residents that the project will soon be completed. The controller, after conducting the crew round the site, said some of the units are already fit for occupation, while some are nearing completion. He added that efforts aimed at completing the others are in top gear, assuring residents that the project will soon be delivered fully. He added that the federal government will also ensure the completion of other associated infrastructure around the project before handing over.
Contractors, we are encouraging them to perform. You can see that last time you came here, the level of job was not like this. Now some of them have delivered. Okay, and those that were not taking of that time, they are on now, they are working seriously. So actually the contractors too are responding.
Speaking with the electrical and water project engineer on federal housing Ekiti State, he said the contractors are contributing towards the success of the project, while some of them are waiting for more funds to complete their own parts of the project.
For now, the electrification is going a long distance. Because if it's not because of the terrain of this place, if the occupant is coming, already we have 2 transformers to serve this estate. And one of them, each is 33 kV transformer. You can see the efficiency of the light that we're enjoying in this housing estate in Ekiti State. The level, this infrastructure is around, I can say, between 60 to 65% completion.
Of water. Almost 65% job has been done. You can see now, this is the water treatment plant house. All the components are ready, but it's not yet finished. They are not yet finished due to security. Because if we visit, no fencing yet, nothing. So that is why we kept some of the components in our store, in the office, to avoid vandalism and whatever, to avoid the stealing of some of these components.
The block of flats is the outstanding part of the project, which is nearing
That is it on this week's episode of the program. But before we go, a little on what you as a citizen need to do to help the Buhari administration in moving the nation forward. Pay your tax, play your part in ensuring safety of public utilities, and lastly, continue to be a good citizen by supporting effort aimed at moving Nigeria forward by the Buhari administration. Thanks so much for watching. Join us for another interesting episode next week. I am Abosede Omowi. Bye for now.
Bring all